अष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादं सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Anand Bihari Pro,
Yes, Gaura Prabhu.
can you help me with the verses, please?
Yeah.
What is the number?
Oh, brother, I just put them in the chat and they disappeared. Hold on.
Okay.
It's 10, 20, 29 through 31.
Yes. Thank you, bro. Yes. Reading from Canto 10, chapter 20, verses 29 to 31.
31, yes, including 31.
Yes. Yes. So the verse 29. Dadyodanam samanitam shilayam shalilantike sambhojaniyair bhubuje.
There's no video.
I'm setting up the laptop by the side, bro. Gopai Sankarshan Anvita. Can you read the translation for me?
Hold on, let me pull them up.
Reading translation and purport by His Divine Grace of Bhaktivinoda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, His just honest by his disciples. Translation: Lord Krishna would take his meal of boiled rice and yogurt sent from home in the company of Lord Sankarshana and the cowherd boys who regularly ate with him. They would all sit down to eat on a large stone near the water. Shadvalopari samvishya charvato milite kshanan Truptan vrishnan vatsataran gascha swadhovarashrama pravritshiyam chatam viksha sarvakala sukhavaham bhagavan pujayam chakre Atma Shakti Upabrahmitam. Lord Krishna watched the contented bulls, calves, and cows sitting on the green grass and grazing with closed eyes. And he saw that the cows were tired from the burden of their heavy milk bags. Thus, observing the beauty and opulence of Vrindavan's rainy season, a perennial source of great happiness, the Lord offered all respect to that season, which was expanded from his own internal potency. Purport: the lush beauty of the rainy season in Vrindavan is meant to enhance the pleasure pastimes of Sri Krishna. Thus, to set the scene for the Lord's loving affairs, his internal potency makes all the arrangements described in this chapter. Mukum karoti vachalam pangum langete girim yatkrupatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. जय श्री निताय गौरंग भगवान की जय, श्री शुद्ध मुरलीधर की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Thank you everyone for being here. So begging of forgiveness for the delay and also the blessing, so that I'll be able to speak in such a way that it can give pleasure to the hearts of the devotees and to the lordships. So here we're reading from this Canto 10, Chapter 20 for a few days now. So here the translations: Lord Krishna would take his meal of boiled rice and yogurt sent from home in the company of Lord Sankarshan and the cowherd boys who regularly ate with him. They would all sit down to eat on a large stone near the water. Lord Krishna watched the contented bulls, calves, and cows sitting on the green grass and grazing with closed eyes, and he saw that the cows were tired from the burden of their heavy milk bags. Thus, observing the beauty and opulence of Vrindavan's rainy season, a perennial source of great happiness, the Lord offered all respect to that season, which was expanded from his own internal potency. So here we see Vrindavan is distinct from the material nature. Material nature is made to give pain to the living entities. That's the purpose of the creation of the material existence. The pain, in the sense, it is to transform the hearts of the conditioned souls and make them understand what is real love, where do they actually belong to. So the purpose of material nature is that. But here the spiritual nature, by his internal potency, Krishna is manifesting these various seasons. So time is there subservient to Krishna's happiness in the spiritual world. However, in the material world, we are all subservient to the time energy, and our lives are dragged by the energy of time. The Lord drags all of us, whether we like or not, like through this potency of time. However, here the seasons change through the internal potency of Krishna in order to give him pleasure. So one thing which I really appreciate from this verse is, like, Lord Krishna watched the contented bulls, calves, and cows sitting on the green grass and grazing with closed eyes. So we can only imagine that scene. The Vrindavan's forest filled with green grass, and the happy cows and the calves and the bulls, they're all like grazing with as much as they want, they have grazed. And if you see the synonyms of this particular verse 30 to 31, it is charvataha. Charvan also means, you can call it grazing. However, charvan is usually after the grazing also, that the cows are actually have grazed and they are sitting back. They bring back what they have already grazed, and they start actually chewing them. So the first, they just collect everything, they just eat quickly, and then they bring back, and then they kind of chew again and then relish what they have. So that is what is considered as a sadhaka is also supposed to be like that, that we may do many things as part of our devotional service. We may read, hear, chant, so many things. Still, as a devotee, when there is time, so what do we do is what is our mental state. Do we think of those things that we don't have, those things that we want to achieve, or we are happy in that small space with Krishna? Because we have taken in a lot of spiritual vibrations in the form of chanting, hearing the pastimes, and stories about the Supreme Lord and various value systems that are conducive for our spiritual lives. We have taken in a lot of stuff, and we do even sometimes speak about these topics. However, what is our contemplation? So that is what here the cows and the bulls, they are like sitting back, they're very satisfied. They're very satisfied. They're not just thinking, oh, I need to graze more or I need to get this or that. They're just so happy and contented for what they have got, whatever they had, they could take in. They're happy with that. And now they're sitting back and relishing. They're like kind of relishing what they have already got. Similarly, a devotee also is supposed to be satisfied. So what does this satisfaction mean? Because in this world, dissatisfaction is the prominent thing. Everybody is dissatisfied in one sense, whether they are dissatisfied in their jobs, they're dissatisfied in their relationships, or they're dissatisfied with the amount of finance, economy, the position of the economy, or the amount of money that one has, or the personal beauty, or the kind of wardrobe one possesses, something. We are all like dissatisfied with something. And that is a sign that there's that we can learn from these cows and the bulls and calves of Vrindavan. They are contented. So we may say, okay, how am I supposed to feel satisfaction? It's a reality that I don't have certain things, and am I not supposed to work for it to achieve it? Am I just supposed to be just satisfied with whatever I have? So in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 17th chapter, 16th verse, so Krishna says like manaprasada samyatvam maunam atma vinigraha atma samshuddhi riti eta manotapasam uchyate. So he starts with like that. I just told the verse, I forgot. Anyone help me recollect what I just said? Maunam Atma Vinigraha. The first word is satisfaction. So satisfaction is an austerity of the mind. This is our intelligences. I just told and I already forgot. Mana prasadaya saumyatam. Yes, mana prasadaya means that satisfaction of the mind is an austerity of mind. So Krishna is not saying, means when you say austerity, that means we do have a choice. It is not like when a condition is met, then I am satisfied. Like usually how we think like that. To become satisfied, I need to have certain things. So we need to increase the things one possesses. That's how the modern propaganda is. You buy this, you possess this. So that's how you become satisfied. However, Krishna is saying here, satisfaction is actually an austerity of the mind. So it is not a condition to be met, but it's a choice to be made. So according to the Bhagavad Gita 17.16, if we read, so then satisfaction of a mind is not a condition that to be met, like circumstances. If this person behaves like this with me, if this particular thing that I could achieve, if I can have this much money, if I could have these things, then I can be satisfied. So that is not how it works. Krishna is saying satisfaction is not a condition to be met, but a choice to be made. Let me complete my point. I am already doing spontaneous. I don't want to lose my thought. Satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from the... I am reading from the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Satisfaction of the mind can only be obtained by taking the mind away from the thoughts of sense enjoyment. The more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. So I really love this purport. Whenever I feel dissatisfaction, I always try to read this purport. It is a very, very practical and very important purport, I would feel. So satisfaction can be obtained only by taking the mind away from thoughts of sense enjoyment. However, today in the form of social media and so many things, we are constantly bombarded with thoughts of sense enjoyment. And people think just by watching these, by writing something, by seeing something, then I'll be actually happy. But here Prabhupada is saying satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from thoughts of sense enjoyment. It looks exactly opposite, like diametrically opposite viewpoint. The world is telling watch these things, do these things, or engage in this sense enjoyment. That's how you will become satisfied. But here Prabhupada is writing, the more we think of sense enjoyment, Prabhupada is clearly writing, the more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. So this is what Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, the nature of the mode of enjoyment in the mode of passion, happiness in the mode of passion is, it starts like nectar and ends in poison. So that's what Prabhupada here is saying. The more we think of sense enjoyment, we engage our mind in the sense enjoyment, then the mind eventually becomes dissatisfied. At the moment, it may feel like very exhilarated, very excited, but eventually it leads to dissatisfaction. And Prabhupada continues, in the present age, we unnecessarily engage the mind in so many different ways for sense gratification. And so there is no possibility of the minds becoming satisfied. So Prabhupada is saying, if we take the mind away from sense gratification and actually give it gravity, because the rest of the verse says, Manaprasadaha saumyatvam, maunam atma vinigraha. Maunam means silence. Atma vinigraha is actually gravity. So Prabhupada writes, if a person practices like reducing his interactions with the sense enjoyment, unnecessary sense enjoyment, by reducing it and becoming grave in his thoughts and becoming silent. Silent means having thoughts of Krishna as devotees. Maunam atma vinigraha and atma samshuddhi ityeva. This is how, like, self-purification, engaging the mind in spiritual activities for self-purification. Only through these things one can actually become satisfied and control the mind. And this is not a chore. This is not a condition. This is not that, oh, when I have everything that I need, then I'll be satisfied. But Krishna is saying it's an austerity. So it's a choice to be made. And Prabhupada gives the idea how to divert the mind then. The best course is to divert the mind to the Vedic literature, which is full of satisfying stories, as in the Puranas and the Mahabharata. So the very act that we are currently engaging, it's an act of actually satisfying our body, satisfying our mind especially, and satisfying our soul, because we are not just hearing any story, but we are trying to hear about Krishna in Vrindavan, how he is sitting with the cows, bulls, and calves, wherever we may be now. We may be in the city of New York, we may be in a suburb, we may be in a natural location, we may be amidst gadgets and everything, but we do have this opportunity by hearing these verses, remembering Vrindavan, where Krishna is sitting. It's still a daytime. Krishna is still in the forest, and he is sitting with the cows and the bulls and the calves, and they are all happy that they are with Krishna and they've got what they need, and they're bringing back the grass, and they're just like chewing the chewed, we say. So, and then relishing it in the presence of Krishna. So similarly, we do have the opportunity, whatever material nature according to our karma we have got in this life. We may be in whatever body, we may be in whatever country, we may have a certain financial status, some marital status, whatever it is. If we think only when it changes, when it becomes something else, when the zeros in my bank balance increases, or when the amount of clothes I have in my wardrobe increases, whatever, everybody has. The kids think I need to have more toys, more video games. When will my father buy the PS latest one? All these kind of things, or the latest iPhone that's going to come. So if we think, oh, only when I have that I'll be happy. So instead we can think, whatever karma has allotted, whatever Krishna has favored me, I do have it. It's already the grace of Krishna. I do have it. And let me actually now focus my energy in thinking about Krishna. It's not that you have to give up your endeavors in the secular life. It's not like that. A devotee can continue to work, earn money, maintain himself, maintain his family. These are not excluded from devotional service. However, we do have a choice to be satisfied. Why satisfaction of the mind is very important for the devotees? Otherwise, we won't be able to chant with attention. We'll become envious. We'll be so disturbed when we are trying to chant. We are thinking of people, what they told us, what we don't have, how they're bad behaved. This person behaved bad with me, or I didn't get this particular thing. So these thoughts, when we are not satisfied, when our minds are not satisfied, then we won't be able to chant Hare Krishna with attention. It's just not possible. Just watch yourself. When you're continuing to chant, where are your thoughts going? How is the mind slipping away? where one of the most things that the mind gives excuses is like, if you had this, if this particular situation was different, you could have been better. So it's constantly like unsatisfied. It's constantly throwing things, a better situation. It is showing if this particular situation becomes better, then you can be actually great. You will be satisfied. However, the secret of this world is nobody will be satisfied with whatever amount of material resources they get. Just imagine if a person has $250 million in his bank balance, and he loses 100 million because a bank crashed, and he still has 150 million. What do you think he will be feeling? Will he be happy that he has $150 million, or will he be miserable that he lost $100 million? It's so natural for the conditioned human beings to be lamenting for what they lost. They don't feel happy and grateful for what they have. It's just impossible. So, as devotees, if we develop this quality of trying to be grateful for what we already have and understand if Krishna wants, things can come, things can go. But today I have a choice to actually become grateful for what I have and be satisfied in my mind. And when we have a satisfied mind, then we'll be able to actually work on the satisfaction of the soul, that is connecting with Krishna. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So here the verse from Bhagavatam is saying yayatma suprasidati. The soul will be actually satisfied when it performs devotional service. Devotional service is not just picking up mala and mindlessly chanting, or just sitting and speaking because we have certain intelligence, we can remember few things. It's not we can dress the deities because we have some artistic abilities. It's not that we have the ability to manage, we are good in management, so our financial things, so we just manage things. Yeah, there are services people get benefited by because we are engaging in Krishna service in through those external ways. However, for us to be satisfied, for our hearts to be satisfied, we cannot depend on the appreciation and acknowledgement that comes from others. If we are dependent upon the acknowledgement and the appreciation that comes from others for the sake of our satisfaction, we'll never be satisfied. It'll never be enough. Because in this world, it's not that we cannot be happy. It's not that people just want to be happy. People want to be happier than others. So it's not that people want to be rich. People want to be richer than others. It's not that people want to be beautiful. They want to be beautiful than others, handsome than others. So that is the point which makes us miserable. It's not that people don't have enough beauty or happiness or money or things that they already possess. It's not that. They are miserable because they want to be better than others. They want to be happier than others, rich or whatever. So that comparison makes us miserable. And that is the austerity of the mind. To understand, okay, whatever I have is actually more than enough for me to live. Let me actually choose to be grateful for what I have. If something needs to be acquired for the basic necessity, yes, we can work for it. But we don't need to wait to become happy on a mental level, wait to be satisfied. So that's an austerity. And if we choose to do it, then our minds will be satisfied. And then when we engage in devotional service, when we try to chant, we can actually focus. A person who is not satisfied will never be able to attentively chant. So this is a verse from Bhagavad Gita 2.66. If anyone remembers, they can help me. Nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha. So it is basically, the verse says, Ashantasya kutas sukham. It says, one who is not peaceful, one who is not peaceful or satisfied, where is the question of happiness? So for the happiness, the first thing is satisfaction and like peace. Peace is not possible when we are not satisfied. So on the mental level, we need to cultivate this satisfaction as an austerity, because Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita. And when we do that, then we will be able to effectively utilize all the spiritual practice that we practice. Otherwise, devotees are chanting for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and still you find them, they're just dissatisfied. Somebody did some politics to them in the past. Somebody did something to them in before 20 years. They still hold on to those grudges. They're still like, if only if this was like this, if this person behaved like this. it does not change. It never will become different if we are not if we don't cultivate this austerity of the mind by being satisfied with what we have, and and understand that whatever I have is Krishna's grace. Let me be satisfied and focus on the chanting of the holy name, focus on the Bhagavatam that I'm trying to read, and so that, and offer myself with a complete satisfaction to Krishna. So there are many verses in the Bhagavad Gita that I'm remembering, but I'm also like running out of time. There's one last thing that I wanted to say. There is this beautiful verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He says, Kalena snana shauchabhyam samskares tapasejaya shuddhyanti dane santushtya dravyanti atma vidyaya. It says there are different things that are purified by different aspects. Like by passing of time, land and material possessions are purified. By bathing, the body is purified. By cleansing, say for example, you have some unclean things like utensils. So then by applying soap, by cleansing them, you can actually purify them. And birth could be purified by purificatory ceremonies, samskaras. That's why we do, when the baby is born, we have samskaras for it, to name it, to feed the first grains. And then in this way, the first letters, aksharabhyasa. So everything is a samskar. Before birth also there is samskar. Before the birth also the birth needs to be purified. After birth it can be purified, but before birth purification is also very important. So purificatory samskaras, because through the purificatory ceremonies, birth could be purified. By austerity, senses could be purified. How can the senses be purified? Only by austerity, not by engaging them in sense gratification. And ijaya, by worship and charity, Brahmanas are purified. By charity offered to other people, worship, that is also purifying the material possessions one has. And how the mind is purified here, Shukdev Goswami is saying santushtya. By satisfaction, the mind is purified. This is the translation by Srila Prabhupada. By satisfaction, the mind is purified. And dravyani means the things that we possess, they are purified by giving in charity. And atma, how can the soul be purified? Means soul is always pure, right? Still, here it is said atma vidyaya. The conditioned self could be purified of its attachments by self-realization. By Krishna consciousness, soul could be purified. Here we mean the soul is chitta, which is the subtle body, that is the whole chetana, consciousness. Cheto darpanam arjunam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying. So I'm repeating this verse. This is one of the important verses. Kalena snana shauchabhyam samskares tapasejaya shuddhyanti dane santushtya dravyani atma vidya. We can take 2 points for this particular discussion. Senses are purified by austerity. Mind is purified by satisfaction. So, O king, by the passage of time, land and other material possessions are purified. By bathing, the body is purified. And by being cleansed, unclean things are purified. By purificatory ceremonies, birth is purified. By austerity, the senses are purified. And by worship and charity offered to the Brahmanas, material possessions are purified. By satisfaction, the mind is purified. And by self-realization or Krishna consciousness, the soul is purified. So with these words from Srila Prabhupada, I invite any comments or thoughts that you would like to share, reflections. So thank you very much. Here, Adi Purush Prabhu has, you have your screen, Prabhu? It's like, okay, just a minute. Let me turn.
Okay, Hare Krishna, wonderful class. The nectar just pours out. You made a really important point. This is a reflection, not a comment or a correction, but you made a very important point that the satisfaction is not a function of what we have, but it's our attitude. We can choose. And one really wonderful thing you said was to be satisfied with whatever Krishna gives. There's an old Hasidic Jewish expression, who is a wealthy man? One who is satisfied with whatever Krishna gives, right? Brahma Bhuta, Prasanatma, Nasochati, Nakanchati. If we're actually on the spiritual platform, there's no hankering, there's no lamentation. Krishna, you can embrace me, you can kick me, whether or not there's praise, criticism, or if I'm ignored, or people are laughing at me, I just want to serve you. My criteria Sangsadya Haritoshanam is our activity is perfect if it pleases the Lord. So that's what a devotee is thinking. Not a function of what I have, but whatever Krishna is given. Krishna is giving. Not that I just have it, but that it's coming from the Lord, and I'm willing to serve you, no matter what the external circumstance looks like. A really important point. Very interesting to know that it's coming from our choice, not the external circumstances. We'll let that go. Glories to Prabhupada. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. In connection to what you were saying, I was thinking about this whole thing about how dissatisfied so many people are with all these temporary arrangements. And I was thinking about this advertisement, how the media is being used to propagate all of this information to us. I mean, you turn on the computer, anything you do, it's like you're bombarded with all kinds of little things to entice your senses. And I was thinking, how did this all start? And actually, one of the starting points of this is in 1936, when the first Olympics was in Germany. And Hitler started this whole propaganda thing. He took our modern day advertisement is based on a lot of the principles that he applied in 1936. Really trying to pump people up, false advertisement, saying that we're superior, we're the best, we're the best country. He changed the lingo of a lot of the sports. He took this whole, and from that point on, the way advertisement was changed forever, and it's graduated to this day. We see right now. I mean, you walk outside in New York here. You walk outside on every taxi. There's media, saying, get this, buy this, take this for you to entice your senses. You sit at the bus stop, and on both sides of the bus stop, there's all these commercials, get this, these beautiful women, and they're enticing you. This is what you need to be beautiful and to feel. They're taking that same program that Hitler had, this demoniac person, and they're applying it. And this is what's going on today constantly. We're always being use this, buy this, eat this, drink this, do that. And no one's really getting any satisfaction from it. And it's like, what I like the point you made about the fact that, the only way for us to really get that satisfaction is controlling the senses and the mind. And that's not happening when you are constantly being thrown into a whirlpool of what you need. And a lot of these things that are being explained are things that we actually don't need. It's the opposite. So I was just thinking about that point that was being made.
Hi, Hare Krishna. I would like to share as well something that I thought about this point of satisfaction. I have a friend in England that sometimes we share some stories and conversations through telephone. And when she called me or I call her, we used to talk about jobs. We used to talk about positions, about the flat that she is renting, for example. We used to talk as well about the amount of income that she or anyone is having. Yeah, we used to talk about like very general things or general topics that anyone could imagine. And she used to tell me sometimes that I have to change my job because when she realized that other people or other persons are having a different position, having an income that is higher, having a flat or house or place that is different, because it's different, but not better than the one that she is having, she start feeling that she have to do the same or something better. I have to do the same or something better. I have to have the same or something better. Okay. I was having also a conversation with my friend Irene from Spain, and I talked to her. And again, after having a conversation about the habits that she has and the habits that other people have, like going to the gym, like going to, who knows, shopping, or staying at home, or just going to the cinema to see some movies. Yeah, at the point that she realized that she is not following the same, she start feeling that she have to do it, or she have to try something better, and not reflecting about the good and beautiful things that she already has, right? And is that, I guess, after seeing different situation of persons that feel that she have to. You don't have to anything. Yeah, that is something that we develop with the time and with the environment where we grow. Like this material world forced us to think that you have to. You don't have to. You choose. You have the choice on your hands anytime, and you can feel freely satisfied because you think that after school, after uni, after working, after many different situations, the society is forcing you to have, right? But we can remove that thought on our minds, yeah, and start feeling and thinking that I decide what I like or where I need, that it could be more than enough, because my focus and my purpose is not me, it's others. My focus and my purpose is helping, serving, loving. And when you are close to that, you are far from the ego, right? When you turn the camera from you to others, you start feeling more satisfied, completely satisfied. When you help people, when you serve, when you don't think about you, because that I have to, at the end of the day, is a point of ego. And we need to go far away from the ego through serving people, through having a purpose of love, and following all the time what God wants for us. Thank you.
Everybody is impressed by Justice's contribution. Everybody wants your name, Justice. They're asking your name. Who's this devotee speaking? Who's this devotee speaking? Gaura Prabhu, your heart is like a milk bag full of nectar and valuable realizations, and you're so satisfied, and you're sharing it with us. Thank you.
It depends on the situation, what comes out of the bag. It's inconceivable. In the same bag, there are different kinds of things. In the Vyasasana, something comes out of the Vyasasana, something else.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So valuable. Such
I
a
see a
valuable
couple
class.
of devotees with their raised hands, so please feel free to go. I would say it is Mother Andrea.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Gaura Prabhu. My question is a little bit veering off the
Okay.
path a little bit, because it seems like what we're talking about right now in terms of satisfaction seems to be very focused on the consumerism and the materialism that is rampant, throughout the world. And my question is more of what about the fact that when there are things that we want to change? So, for example, the people who were part of the civil rights movement in the United States, they were often told, especially the Black-bodied people, they were told, you should just be satisfied with your lot in life. This is just how it is, and just accept it. And instead, they, as well as other, people, decided, no, this is unjust. We will do something about it. And a lot of them were, devotees, obviously, more of like the Christian or Jewish tradition, but they were devotees, and they made something happen. And thanks to them, now in the United States, there's still injustice when it comes to Black-bodied people, but we don't have segregation in schools and things of that sort in an overt way. So with that in mind, like, where does that idea of being satisfied with what we have come in when it is along those lines of an injustice or things that are unfair, where people are being discriminated against based on their bodily, designations? I don't know if I'm clear with that or not.
Yeah, means you're saying, if I can rephrase, like paraphrase the question, like you're saying, if we are just always speaking about satisfaction, can that not be used as an excuse to perpetrate injustice in the society? Yeah. So means according to, if we observe what Krishna is doing, yeah, the Pandavas went through injustice. Krishna is not saying just tolerate the injustice, but it is not, but at the same time, it is not that one can be satisfied only after having the kingdom. If that is the case, he won't be satisfied even after having the kingdom. The state of heart and mind and what we need to do in the world to fix certain things in the service of others, they don't need to be exclusive, mutually exclusive. He could be satisfied in their own heart and still understand this is what needs to change for the betterment of the society, so we can fight for it. But we don't need to think only at when the goal is achieved, I'll be satisfied. The process should be also actually satisfying happiness. So that is the difference between the process of bhakti and other processes. The means and the goal both are actually satisfying in the process of bhakti. But in the other process, you become happy only when the goal is achieved. So if in case you did not achieve the goal, you're going to be miserable, more miserable that you tried your best and you did not achieve the goal. So sometimes we can see the change in our own lives. But what about those people who died fighting for the change and never saw the change in their own lives? So what about their things? Were they satisfied when they were dying? Because if they were happy because they were fighting for the right thing, and if it is connected in a proper spiritual consciousness, then they'll be happy, whether the change happened or not in their lifetime. So it's not mutually exclusive. However, we need to understand if there is no internal satisfaction, whether the person is fighting or not fighting, being the perpetrator of injustice or being on the receiving end, they'll all be unhappy in this world. So I don't think we need to wait to develop this satisfaction for the external circumstances. However, it does not mean we can either justify or need to tolerate injustices. So I need to open the darshan, so I will go. You guys can continue the discussion, and I'll put all of you on the hundi as a donation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Gaura Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, beautiful discussion. Every time I try to explain to my wife that she has to be happy with what she has, she gets scared. Okay. Bhima Prabhu, Ananda Manjari, you had your hands raised. Okay, who's going next?
Ananda Manjari, let her go next. I just want to
Ananda
listen.
Manjari.
Hare Krishna. Oh, I think it's
Okay,
too late.
donation time. Ananda Manjari, don't tune out. We want to hear your comment. Okay, cameras on, please. Rich, bring your friends back. Yeah, we got Jeffrey Eckler. Yeah, Rich. Thank you. Beautiful. Sundaranandaji.
Krishna, thank you everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Gaura Sharan Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. Okay, Ananda Manjari, followed by Bhim.
Hare Krishna. So today I heard a few lectures from Srila Prabhupada on Sri Upanishad, and it was interesting because in one of the lectures, he gave this very beautiful and very simple definition of Krishna consciousness. And so he shared that Krishna consciousness is to see things as they are. And I feel that it really fits into this class of tuning internally of what is actually that we need and what is truly happiness, which is to really come beyond the pullings of the five senses and really to be able to focus our minds and hearts on the Lord and offer ourselves completely. And so just considering that definition of this is just to simply see things as they are and to see our true position and situation in this world and in our constitutional position as servants. So that's what I wanted to bring. I find that to be very instructive for me, actually, to just contemplate this definition.
Thank you, Ananda Manjari. Yes. Seeing things as they are. Beautiful. Bhima Prabhu.
Haribol, can I be heard okay?
Yes.
Yes.
I was reminded during the lecture that we pray to or we think we have to control the mind and somehow or adjust external circumstances. Even devotionally speaking, we think that if we can adjust devotional external circumstances. If my service, if I could just do more service, or if I just had more, facility, etc., etc. And I don't have much realization, but the one thing that I've come to realize is how important the interior life is, and that it is not us that controls our mind, because we don't have a chance against Maya. As Prabhu was saying, the propaganda of Maya is infallible. She'll get to you. And as we notice, we're going along in contemporary society, this propaganda, we don't have to worry about Big Brother watching us. We're watching Big Brother all day. Every time we pick up our phone and go on social media, we're diverted. Our attention is taken without the senses. We're indulging our senses. And if we can just do something simple, we wonder, or we have the deities, Radha Murlidhar, and they're standing still, and we stand still before them, and they're just trying to get us to be still and to reflect internally, to have a richer interior life. And when we understand that Krishna satisfies, as he says in the Gita, chapter 2, he satisfies us from within. He informs us from within. Everything is from within. Behold, the kingdom of heaven is within. And if we just realize that it's nothing we do externally, even external devotional service, if we're not internally, if we're not contemplative, if we don't understand why and who, then the whats and the hows of what we do will make no sense. So if we just spend that quiet time and pray to Krishna, that Krishna controls our mind. He's the one on the chariot. He's the one with the reins in his hands. And then when we surrender those reins, then he takes over and we can be victorious. And we can realize that Krishna is always on our chariot. So anyways, I don't mean to ramble on. These are new things to me as well. So Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. I'm going to turn my reins over to Krishna right after the class is over. I'm going to do that. Okay. Any further contributions? Vinisha has given us thumbs up. Is it you holding the rein, Vinisha, or are you giving us thumbs up?
Thumbs up to let them go. Give them to Krishna.
Yeah. Radhanath Maharaj once said, whether you keep your hands on the wheel or off the wheel, it's all up to Krishna. But drive safely. Don't take it literally. Andrea, thank you very much for the question. Beautiful. You always have very good questions that go right where it applies, or it plays out in our life, making the philosophy applicable, practical. Thank you, Andrea. Okay. All right. It was nice seeing you, everybody. Thank you very much. We pray that we stay satisfied with the service that we have, with the mission that we have, which is Srila Prabhupada's movement. That's our satisfaction. That's our validation. That's our guidance. That's our everything. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Don't get discouraged, and see Krishna's loving hand behind every situation, every challenge. And come back tomorrow for another session. Hare Krishna.